Or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, under penalty of perjury should you lie to the court.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Rangel, back on the 12th of July of 2021, 22, 23, 24, over 3 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago, you submitted an application. You asked the court to approve your request to be placed on community supervision. That's known as probation. In lieu of you going to the Bexar County Jail to serve time on the offense that you were charged with. The court approved your request. You were placed on probation for an assault bodily injury offense to a family or household member. And you were told that the range of punishment for that was up to 1 year at the Bexar County Jail, up to a $4,000 fine, and you could lose your Second Amendment constitutional right to bear firearms, have guns, and handle ammunition. Mr. Rangel, we're at that hearing today that you were warned about. So, do you understand why we're here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand what could possibly happen at the end of this hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Rangel, thank you very much. Please stand by. Mr. Sims, as the prosecutor for Bexar County and the attorney for the state of Texas, the DA's office filed a motion to revoke Mr. Rangel's community supervision. Can you put on the record why we're here today?
On or about the 31st day of March 2023 in Dimmitt County, Texas, the defendant, John David Rangel, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2. In Dimmitt County, Texas, the defendant, John David Rangel, did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of May and June 2023 in violation of condition number 4. And on or about the 3rd day of July 2023 in Dimmitt County, Texas, the defendant, John David Rangel, did then and there fail to comply with all rules, regulations, instructions, and financial agreements as directed by the court and or supervision officer and or the head of or authorized personnel of the following counseling education program, the state accredited battering intervention and prevention program, and violation of condition number 14.
Anything else, Mr. Sims?
That is it, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Rangel, I'm going to ask you for each of the allegations made by the state. I'm going to ask you, Mr. Rangel, if the allegation is true or not true. That's all you need to answer, Mr. Rangel. Your attorney, Mr. Briones, will take care of any other additional information that the court needs to know before ruling. Okay, Mr. Rangel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and Mr. Sims, Officer Martinez, I just want to be clear. The court had approved that Mr. Rangel be supervised on probation out of Dimmitt County. Is that accurate?
No, Your Honor. He was reporting to Bexar County. You approved VOV reporting. So he was reporting via Zoom.
I see. Okay. So, Mr. Rangel, listen closely. The state is alleging that you violated condition number 2 of your court-ordered conditions of probation by failing to submit to drug testing in Dimmitt County as court-ordered on or about the 3rd day of March of 2023. Is that true or not true, Mr. Rangel?
True.
Mr. Sims, what is the state seeking today?
Revocation, Your Honor.
I'm going to now ask probation for probation's recommendation and a brief summary of Mr. Rangel's overall compliance with his conditions of probation and the court's orders. Officer Martinez.
Yes, Your Honor. Probation is recommending revocation as well. This is a second MTR for Mr. Rangel. The first MTR we withdrew and extended him. We ordered him to comply with BIP. At that time, he stopped reporting. We were not able to do a field visit only because he is residing in Carrizozo Springs. During his time on probation, he failed to submit on 3 separate occasions. He did not register for BIP. He did not complete the MP 360 that was ordered at the time. He still owes $1,545. He did pay $102. He was allowed to report via Zoom, so there was no excuse for him not reporting. All he had to do was log on to an app at a certain time. Due to it being the second MTR and the case expiring in July of last year, probation is recommending revocation.
How many days does he have jail time credit?
45 days as of the 30th of October.
Okay.
That's an additional 5 days.
5 days. So 40 days?
50 days.
50 days. Okay. All right. Mr. Briones, the court will hear from you now. Rest assured, he'll get that 50 days credit on whatever we decide to do today. Plus, I'm going to give him a couple of more days credit for the $102 he paid. Is there anything else, Mr. Briones, that you believe he should get credit for?
Well, Your Honor, my client had some issues regarding logging onto Zoom due to his work. He was working at the oil fields in Carrizo Springs. To his credit, he hasn't picked up anything new. He's kind of just been laying low, paying his bills, working. He has two small children, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old who miss him, and he's with the mother, and they're essentially a household. And being out of work, for this month and being incarcerated has definitely taken a toll on them. At least speaking to mom about that. So while he does realize he did make a couple stupid mistakes, I think there's something to be shown for him not getting into trouble again. I think the complainant was his father-in-law, and him just kind of laying low and not causing any more problems to the county. So that would be our argument, Your Honor.
Okay. So how much credit do I give everybody else here who hasn't reoffended and is working and is laying low? He's supposed to do that. And you want me to give him extra credit for that, Mr. Briones? That's what he was supposed to do. Not reoffend, work, lay low. So no, he's not getting any extra credit for that. And I can't take your testimony, Mr. Briones, otherwise I have to remove you from the case. So all this stuff about his kids missing him and that you talked to his wife, that's evidence that I cannot consider unless you want to withdraw from the case. And you can be a witness at that point. Where's the 1 and 4-year-old now? Probably being taken care of by his father-in-law and the mother of the children. And they can continue to be taken care of by them. Part of the job that this court has to do is to do what is necessary to make sure that people don't reoffend and that we break the cycle of this type of behavior. And just rewarding Mr. Rangel for just not reporting, for not doing what he was court ordered to do, that's not going to happen today, Mr. Briones. He needs to be held accountable. The problem with this behavior is that it's been normalized and people think that it's because it's a misdemeanor, it's no big deal. It's a crime of escalation. This is where it all starts, Mr. Briones. It's not where it ends. It's where it starts. Mr. Rangel, this
Yes,
court
Your
is
Honor.
going to accept your 2 pleas for violations number 2, number 4, and number 14 as pled by the state. The court is granting the state's motion to revoke your probation, and the court is finding you guilty of the offense of assault, bodily injury to a family or household member. That's your father-in-law. So that's family violence. The court is sentencing you, Mr. Rangel, like you were warned on the 12th of July of 2021, to 365 days at the Bexar County Jail, assessing a $4,000 fine, plus court costs, issuing the affirmative finding of family violence. Mr. Rangel, you cannot purchase, possess, own, or use a firearm, a gun, or ammunition. Upon your release from custody, you cannot live anywhere, stay anywhere, or visit any location where firearms, guns, or ammunition can be found. Upon your release from custody, you cannot be a driver or a passenger in any motor vehicle in which firearms, ammunition, or guns can be found. And upon your release from custody, we're not restricting your right to hunt. We are restricting how you hunt. You cannot use a firearm, gun, or ammunition to hunt with. The court is ordering that you get 50 days of credit for jail time plus 2 more for the $102 you paid, whoever you paid that money to in Dimmitt County. Your time and money will run concurrent and you'll be released upon the completion of your sentence. Any questions, Mr. Rangel?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Anything else, Mr. Briones, Mr. Sims, or Officer Martinez?
Nothing from the state.
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Nothing from probation.
Everyone is excused.
Yes, sir.
You are a licensed truck driver and have a CDL?
The state has had the opportunity.
You Patrick Royal. Mr. Royal, you're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you, sir. Okay.
On November 1st of 2024, officers conducted a traffic stop at the 4000 block of State Highway 6 after observing the vehicle have illegal tints on the front side windows and front windshield, preventing any visibility into the vehicle. An NCIC search of the defendant revealed him to have a suspended and invalid driver's license and an active Class C warrant for DWLI. An inventory search of the vehicle revealed an extended 9mm magazine on the front right passenger side, as well as a 9mm semi-automatic handgun within plain view on the front middle seat,
Don't look at her computer.
not secured in a holster. The defendant did not have a license to carry. And he does have prior criminal history, Judge.
Curious, he has a prior UCW, same facts?
He also has 2 from Fort Bend, not UCWs, but I'm looking at the other case, Judge, from this county. In that one, he made
This is a 4th then.
it's the 4th charge, yes, Judge. In the other UCW, he made an illegal U-turn in an open intersection. He was a sole operator. The defendant opened the glove compartment to get his wallet, and officers saw the magazine to a handgun. Officer then told the defendant to let down his rear window due to the window tint being extremely dark. So it was the same set of facts, Judge.
Well, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any weapons in your possession. I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to drive any vehicle whatsoever for any reason. You will be signing an affidavit with me today promising me you're not going to drive. Am I boring you, Mr. Royal? Am I boring you? You're sitting here where you're rolling your eyes, looking up at the stars like.
No, I'm trying to clock in what you're saying, well, Your Honor. Trying to clock in. I'm listening to everything. I'm trying to listen. I ain't trying to listen.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Royal?
Construction work.
This is an affidavit that you're going to sign today, promising me that you're not going to drive, Mr. Royal. I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care that you have to go to work. I don't care that you need groceries. I don't care that a kid has to go to school. If you want to drive, go get a license, get liability insurance. And if you can show me that you have both of those, I will allow you to drive. What?
The one she said where I got pulled over last year. They
Don't care about the case from last year.
No,
We're
I
not
went and got
looking
a
back.
license.
We're
I have
looking.
a license now. That's what I'm saying. I went and go get a license. They told me that I had to get a license to get that dismissed, and they dismissed it. I got it. Then I got a ticket for 10, and that's what I needed to pay. That's what it was. But I have a license. So I just paid a lot.
Just ran your license. It's not eligible. Did you just run his license?
I ran it when I screened, Judge. I'm checking again right
What it
now.
was for. I went to court for it, and they dismissed
Mr.
it.
Royal, they just checked in the DPS system.
Saying that there's no license, Judge.
There's
Do they know?
Telling me
where-
that
do
you have
they
a
know
driver's
where-
license?
Do they know why? Can y'all tell me where it's still suspended at?
I don't have. that in my
Texas.
I ain't trying to cause no problems, I promise.
Are you telling me that you have a Texas driver license?
But I mean, I guess it's suspended, but I have a Texas, yeah.
Do you have a number? Because we'll check right now. Yeah, give us a number. We'll check to make sure that it's valid or not. Perhaps it's a different number. You know, when it gets suspended and then they
Yeah,
get
maybe
a new
that's.
license, if just the number. Yeah.
Deputy, not on camera.
Please do not read it out loud.
Thank you.
It's the same number.
It's the same number? Okay. If it's the same number, it's suspended. You cannot drive. I'm making it a condition of your bond, Mr. Royal. I don't care what's going on in your life. You need to call DPS to figure out what's going on with your license, and why you need to get it back. But one of us is not learning something. This is now your 5th to probably 6th case, and it all stems from one thing. What is that one thing? What is the one thing that keeps getting you pulled over? Right. And it will continue to happen over and over. One of these things has to change. I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I'm going to get you to Victoria, sign a reset. I'll then have you take a seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions for you not to have a weapon. While you're thinking, you're not listening. Just let me finish my spiel, and then I'll answer your questions. I want you to sign the bond conditions that you're not to have any weapons, and then we'll let you go hire a lawyer. What did you want to ask?
Get my license and stop or whatever. How do I do that? Well, I just gotta pay my tickets and stuff.
I'm giving you the number to the driver's license division to DPS. You need to call this number, and they will tell you what you need to do to get your license.
I'm saying the restriction. Like, how do I get my restriction on the next one?
You need to call DPS to figure out what you need to do to get your license. I don't know. You may have to pay surcharges. You may need an SR 22. You may need to prove to them that you have prepaid insurance for a certain amount of time. Once you do that, then they will give you your license back. If you can show me that you have that and insurance, I'll happily take the restriction off, because I want you to drive legally. Mr. Royal, when you call them, call at 7 in the morning. Do not call at 8. Do not call at 9, 10, because you'll never get through. The phone lines are just too busy. Come on up. Yes, please. No weapons, please. Good morning, Mr. Barrett.
Hey, how you doing?
Sir, you're charged with assault of a family member. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you. You understand? Okay.
Officers were dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, in response to a family disturbance. The complainant, the defendant's sister-in-law, told officers that the defendant and his wife, the witness, got into an argument. When the complainant tried to intervene, the defendant threw a coffee mug at her, which hit and cut the complainant's hand, causing pain. The defendant told officers that he threw the cup against the wall of the kitchen and caused it to shatter, but that he did not hit complainant with the cup. Officers observed the cut on the complainant's hand.
Did she say that he threw it at her? Is that what you said?
So yes, Judge, she said that the defendant told officers, yes, so she said that he threw it at her.
Got it. Okay. All right, Mr. Barrett, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you, does she want to have contact with him? Do you know?
We did RIF her yesterday, Judge. Let me look at the note. Morgan, did she want contact?
Guys, do we know if the complaining witness wants to have contact with Mr.
I
Bear?
believe she does, Judge, yes.
She does. I spoke with her yesterday.
You don't see a protective explanation. Okay. Mr. Barrett, I'm entering in a magistrate's order for emergency protection. This is a court order that identifies Betty McDonald as a protected individual. You cannot commit family violence or an assault against this person. Commit an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the stalking statute. You cannot threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior. You cannot be in possession of a weapon or go within 200 feet of 10828 Mesquite Drive in LaPorte.
He does live there, and they all live together in that house, him, the defendant, his wife, and the complainant.
Okay. What do you do for a living, Mr. Barrett?
I'm disabled.
Would you like me to appoint you a lawyer today?
Yes.
I will do that. I will have the lawyer speak to you about your living situation, and we'll see how we go forward with regard to the protective order and bond conditions with Ms. McDonald. Regardless, I don't want you to have any threatening or harassing behavior with her.
Yes, sir.
What is threatening or harassing? Doesn't matter what you think it's threatening or harassing. It is what she perceives. So if I go like this, is that threatening or harassing? It is, and it can land you in jail. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. I will have you, let me see if I have an application. I need you to fill out an application for an appointed lawyer for me. Fill it out. I will take a look at it to see whether you qualify. I assume you will, and then we'll have you speak to someone here momentarily. Do not leave until you sign our bond conditions. Otherwise, we'll issue a warrant for your arrest.
Yes.
All right?
Hey everybody, welcome to American Courts. Having some technical issues, so I'm being a little quiet, trying to fix some stuff behind the scenes. But we've got Judge West, Judge Simpson, Judge Hayward, and Judge O'Donnell. We got another one of his. And then we've got where our outro is with Linus there with the judge. Trying to get Allie and Linus to jump on, but they use the excuse for driving, and so they're still having fun being vacationers. So let's go ahead and jump over to Judge Ricole West, and then we'll go to Judge O'Donnell.
Any witnesses? Mr. Lewis.
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Nichols.
Your Honor, I know he's already being held in custody on the juvenile parole hold. It's just my concern. I don't know how long that will last. And $10,000 for what he is accused of doing, coupled with his history, is woefully insufficient to protect the community from Mr. Carter. Typically, someone his age gets the benefit of a doubt, maybe a little leniency, both from me and from the court sometimes. This is not that case, Judge. He has been involved in multiple shootings. He is on parole through the juvenile system for his possession of a legally altered pistol, making it a machine gun. And here he is accused of committing a deadly conduct in the same, and context matters, Judge. It's while a homicide's taking place. And he is not on the offending side of that homicide. But he's also, as you can see with the picture, before that shooting started, he's posing with his firearm. It just happens to be moments before the actual shooting broke out. So I'm asking the court to increase the bond to something that will protect the community from that.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Mr. Lewis.
Yeah, just with Mr. Carter, as far as resources, him being 17, recently released, of course, on that parole. The resources that he did have, of course, his family did use to try to bond him out initially, which they did make that bond. They did make the bond. And my understanding is a few days after that, the bondsman made him aware that he had additional bond conditions of having to get a monitor. He came in, got that done immediately without any issues. And then, of course, he wasn't going to be on bond that long, but a few days after that, or within that same week, the warrant came out from the parole hold. So he's been in custody about a week after he made bond. But he did comply fully with the bond that was set, including additional conditions. I'm not representing him on the parole situation, so I don't know what the status of that is as far as hearing wise or any possibilities of his
Blue Warrant being released pending the outcome of this case. If it is, Judge, we would ask that the bond be allowed to stay where it is, especially given the additional bond conditions of the monitoring, which can be transferred, added to house arrest or anything like that if there's any other concerns for his public safety. But with him being 17 at this time, not working, he doesn't have any other resources where he will be able to make a higher bond than what his family was able to make at this time. He doesn't have any property they could sell or bank accounts or savings or anything of that nature. So we're asking Judge that the bond be allowed what it is, in addition to the amended bond conditions they do have, and we actually would ask for 24-hour house arrest if necessary under this matter once if he is released from that parole hold.
Okay, so, Mr. Carter, I'm not sure I've seen anything in a history as bad as yours. Maybe a couple that I can think of that have ended up here. One specifically that ended up in this court on a murder instead of a deadly conduct and went to prison for the rest of his life. But you have been in trouble since you were 11 years old. 11 years old was your first delinquent court probation for a criminal trespass. Then there was a terroristic threat, runaway, expulsion from the alternate education program, another criminal trespass, an evading arrest or detention, violation of juvenile court probation, a theft, 2 more violations of your probation. They keep continuing. You keep getting chances. This is back in 20. This started in 18. So we're now in 2020. Another evading detention, another evading detention, an unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, 2 aggravated robberies. They still put you on probation for that. Then another violation of your court-ordered probation. And finally, possession of the Glock switch. And you got some little bit, sounds like not much time in TYC. And now we've got you out doing this. You are what is making our county and city a scary place to live. You and your buddies. I'm going to grant the motion. And I'm going to raise your bond in your case to $250,000. I'm going to order as a condition of that bond, if you're able to make it, GPS monitoring device and house arrest. We will reset your case for an announcement and get moving on it as quickly as we can. You can go back with the bailiff.
Well, that guy had a little bit of a history. He's 17 years old and had a big old long history. I see that we're missing Yellowstone. My phone would have told me about it, and I wasn't thinking nothing of it. I'm more worried about what's going on with Lena's right now. What's going on with Lena's and Allie? Lena's saying there's some things that threw her off about America, and she's gonna try to call in and see about it. So it's saying, Julie, I'll see if I can slow chat. I'll see if I can figure that one out. You know what? That'll be a good challenge for me. I'll assign a mod to do it. Allie, could you go ahead and slow down the chat? Let's see where we go there. Hey, KK, she just showed up with us. All right, well, KK, you showed up at a good time. We're going to go to Judge O'Donnell. I think of Kathy every time that judge pops up. So let's go to Judge O'Donnell and give Kathy something to watch later.
Review the report and is ready to proceed with sentencing. The state would move to dismiss the remaining counts of the indictment, and there are 16 days of jail time credit. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Novotny.
Your Honor, we're just asking for any type of leniency with regard to these matters. Ultimately, we'd like the court to consider community control sanctions at this time. Your Honor, and I know Justin will go in a little bit more detail about what he's done so far in prison. He just completed his prison sentence. He has informed me he participated in numerous programs while being in prison, specifically Toastmasters, which is a public speaking course. They learn ultimately how to speak to one another, have great communication with that respect. He also participated in a debate class, a money smart class, so when he is out of prison, he can be economically savvy and manage and budget his funding with that respect. He also participated in Tyros, which I think really hit home for Justin when he was in prison. Ultimately, it was teaching him, as he explains to me, how to be a stand-up person in society. And one thing, quote, that he has come out with, or phrase, should I say, that really hit home for him is dedication. A lot of them, people involved in that program were dads, and kind of stating their experiences with regard to their children and what their long-term goals were for being the parent that he needs to be and wants to be. So dedication, ever since I met Justin with this case, he's kind of held that to his heart dearly with that respect. He also participated in AA and NA meetings whenever they were available for him at the prison. He even tried to be a sponsor at North Central. In addition to that, he was baptized in prison as well, just trying to have some sort of reformation with regard to what he was looking at and his beliefs are. With that respect, and referring back to the dedication, we talked a lot about what his short-term goals are and what his long-term goals are, Your Honor. Specifically, his long-term goal would be ultimately in his child's life. I know he is upset about missing a lot of years with regard to that, key essential years of early development with his child, and he wants to make up for that. So a long-term goal for Justin would be one day being the dad that he knows and he should be and ultimately wants to be for his child. However, he knows that he has to work on himself before he can accomplish or achieve that long-term goal. So with that regard, Your Honor, he is accepted into Legends to maintain his sobriety and recovery path, or in order to try to get to that point where he can achieve his long-term goal. The earliest that they're willing to take him and accept him is November 12th, and ultimately it would be a 30-day inpatient program with sober living associated with PHP and IOP. And they would give the court, of course, updates in our office as well about what Justin's doing there. In total, Your Honor, we would ask that the court be inclined to consider community control sanctions with this matter and any type of leniency with any type of sentence that he's imposed today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sullivan, what do you want to tell me?
So, Your Honor, everything she's spoken was true. I did do a lot of programs in prison. I'm kind of upset with the situation itself because, you know, I made a decision that in the court's eyes is wrong, you know, black and white. And at the same time, though, like it was either I do that or I decide to stand against morally making the choice of keeping in touch with Julia and having contact with my child, you know, especially with what's been going on. You know, she just lost custody of my daughter again for like the third time within this prison number. So obviously there was something going on more than that, but I did wrong, you know, like I shouldn't have had contact with her, but as a man, as a father, like I thought I did what was right. So, you know, I apologize for that. But at the same time, she's right. I did a lot of programs and not really because I knew like the court wasn't looking into it or nothing like that. It's just like who I am as a man. Like I just like to better myself. You know, I did Inside Out Dads. I did Tyros, which it used to be like a Tyro Dads program. It's more so like they're accepted. It's like there's a Tyro women's and a man's one now because like they're trying to get people to change into like being stand-up citizens. You know, like not really just like ex-cons, but more so like people that want to do better for their community. You know, and actually I got the guy that gets like the grants for the Ridge Project, which runs Tyros. He gave me his personal email, told me to call him whenever I get out, and then he was going to try to help me because I have an idea with putting together like not necessarily like a recovery based. I mean, it could be recovery, more so like how Tyros is, but on like a farm. So like I have contact with like a CEO in there that owns a farm and stuff like that. He actually had the same idea. Like we take like a group of guys. I mean, this is further down the road when I get my stuff together, you know. But like we take like a group of like 5 guys and we teach them how to live. You know what I'm saying? Like how to care for their family, how to live, how to work, you know, stuff like that. But and she's right with the AA and NA. Like I was like a beacon of light because like I'm really knowledgeable with the 12 steps and AA and stuff. So like when I would go into these prisons and like I'd go speak at the lectern, like people would shake my hand after I speak. You know, like it's almost like I mean I don't see it, but like other people see it. Like I'm like perfectionist. So like, whenever I don't see perfection in myself, I see failure. But like other people congratulate me on my progress and stuff like that. So, and I think I'm doing fairly well. You know, like before I came back to the jail on these charges, like I was getting high in prison because I was down in like Youngstown, and you know, like the circumstances with everything, just everything that was going on. But like I'm kind of glad that I came back. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of needed to come back. Like I don't know how to explain that, and you know, but I really did need to come back, and like I learned what I needed to learn, and I think I'm ready for probation. I mean, I really don't want probation, but I can complete it. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter what, I got to. I don't want to have to do this stuff on your guys' terms. Like, I want to do it for myself. I don't want to have to jump through hoops just because you guys are telling me to. I just want to do this for my child and myself, really. So.
Well, whatever programs you did in prison, you're right from the standpoint that it wasn't to try to show me what you're doing, because when I sent you, I had no intention of looking at what you were doing, okay? Because we've tried probation a whole bunch of times, right? Didn't we?
I think I was granted probation once, but then I was given a couple of chances just because it was
right. That's what I mean.
Kind of like breaking no contact order and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when you were doing these programs, though, you were still getting high?
No. So the prison I was just in is where I started getting high, and there was no programs there. It was a level 3. It was just violence and drugs. Every day I was fighting every day. Like I haven't been in a fight. Like I'm not a violent person, and like the 2 prisons I was in prior to that, I had no issues at all with anybody. And then I get to this prison, I'm fighting at least once a day. It was just a complete night and day situation.
Well, when you got back here, why were you being such an ass ache over here all the time?
So honestly, when I first came back that arraignment, I owe Mr. Nichols an apology because I didn't see everything for what it was at that moment. I thought I was going back to that prison one more time, and I wasn't gonna make it out of that prison. Like it was hell.
No, but I mean over here, you're giving the COs a bad time and won't go in your cell and all this nonsense. Why are you doing that?
Just more so being a knucklehead, hard-headed. I'm trying to work on my anger. It's more so that like I don't have like anger. I guess I just have problems with injustice. Like say like if something's going on and I feel like it's not right, then like I'm gonna voice my opinion.
I mean, you do have a lot of anger. You've always had a lot of anger. And all these contacts with her from the prison indicate you have a lot of anger. So, I mean, it's been going on a long time.
And I want it to be over.
How old's your daughter?
She's turning 5. She's 4. She's turning 5 Sunday, the 10th. I haven't been home for her birthday yet.
Okay, anything else you want to say?
That I'm just completely over the situation. Like the last time I actually had contact with Miss Cicconetti, it was in April, and she told me we needed a divine separation, and we both agreed to cut it off, and we did. And then the last time I spoke to her, she answered my mom's phone back in August, and she told me, hey, I need you to send me some money for me and Lily. And then, actually it was July, and this is right before she lost custody of my child because she went to a mental hospital. My mom said, don't send her money, I think she's getting high. So I sent my mom the money to buy Lily stuff, which she did. And then the second time I called my mom's phone, and it went to the car, and then my mom and her were in the car together or something, and she was saying that she was over her ex-boyfriend. And I said, Mom, I'll call you back later, click. And then now I got this indictment like a month before I'm going home.
Well, this indictment's got to do with the 1,700 calls from the
No,
jail.
see, yeah, no, I understand that. But I feel like if I would have taken her back, would I be right here?
I don't know, but Jesus Christ, I mean, this shit's been going on for 5 years, right?
I'm done,
More.
man, I'm done.
I mean,
I don't want to do this anymore, man, I'm done.
Then you ought to
Please
stop
get me
doing
away from her. Like, what do I got to do? Like, like, do I got to put a TV on her? Like, I
Well,
don't want nothing to do with her.
Listen, I don't understand the two of you. I've never understood the two of you.
I thought I understood her. I don't. I don't know her. I don't want nothing to do with
She
her.
don't understand you. Okay, nobody understands anybody. I don't understand anything that's going on in the last 5 years in this shit. Okay, really. I mean, I can't. You're in prison because of the repeated violation of protection order. That's your biggest thing. And now you're here again for the repeated violation of protection order. And I don't understand why you do that. I don't know if you understand why you do it. Now, you can say...
Partially, I do.
You can say it's because of the concern of your daughter, which may account for some of those 1,700 calls, but certainly not all of them.
No, you're right. And I think a big part of it, too, is that I don't have nobody. You know, I have my mom and then I have her.
Okay, you don't have her.
Well,
okay? Having her put you in a blue uniform right here.
Every day.
Okay?
Every time.
Similar?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that the victim, Julia Cicconetti, would like to address the court at this time.
Okay.
Over the past 8 years, I dealt with tons of emotional and physical abuse by Justin Sullivan. Most people ask me, why don't you leave? After being called every nasty name or holes in my apartment walls or being thrown across a room or bruises, an apology would always come with the sweet talking that he wanted to be a father to our daughter. As the years progressed, the threats of death and hearing how he didn't love me or our daughter, I went into fear and depression. It was hard to come out of and realize that there was good and kind-hearted people out there. He would isolate me for full control over me to fulfill his needs. I was so used to getting abused, thinking of the words Justin would say, "You will never get anyone better than me." I felt powerless. It took a lot out of me to finally call the prison and ask them to make it impossible for him to call me. When I would block the number previously, he would have random numbers text me asking for me to unblock the number. He even had someone text my father to get me to answer the phone. He would use our daughter that he wanted to ask about her. I felt guilty, which he would make me feel a lot because I did care about him. Also, maybe prison had to be tough. I also wanted to believe that he wanted to be a father to our daughter. In all reality, it was just because he wanted to treat me bad so he felt he had full control over me as a woman. I finally had the prison block the number from Justin calling me. He sent me a piece of mail, which was a blank piece of paper, and it trying to induce fear and confusion in me. One of the last calls I had with Justin, he was threatening to kill me. One time he threatened to hotshot me, which means shooting me up with heroin to make it look like an overdose, which I never did opiates before. At that point, I knew I needed to take these threats seriously. This was a big step to finally cut off contact after all the years of being with Justin. I think Justin needs to be held accountable. He is using drugs and not taking his medication in prison. He is a danger to society. The physical abuse of bruises on my body and face and being held at knife point by him shows that he is a danger to me especially. I am the victim. Justin wants everyone to believe that he is the victim. He is not and needs to accept responsibility. Even if he does, I'm still working in therapy, the fear of Justin causing me harm one day. He has made my already mental health issues worse, inducing fear, paranoia, and shame. I hope Justin Sullivan can realize what he did to me that affected me severely.
Thank you.
Your Honor, as you're aware, this case revolves around over 1,600 times that the defendant contacted the victim while he was incarcerated for the same exact offense from 2022. And as you heard from Julia herself, these contacts weren't just run-of-the-mill contacts. He was threatening her. He threatened to kill her. He threatened to slaughter her. He told her to kill herself. He told her, "I hope you die." He was verbally abusive to her throughout. He has an extensive criminal history that include prior juvenile adjudications as well as detentions, and he's had 27 prior adult criminal convictions from 2011 to 2022 that do include acts of violence. He's had multiple prior prison sentences, and he's had a significant number of contempt complaints and probation violations. The defendant, as this court is aware, has threatened to kill all the judges in Lake County, and he has not behaved while he was in the Lake County jail. He says he's sorry, but at the same time, he blames the victim for the reason that he had to call her and have contact with her over 1,600 times. So in conclusion, Your Honor, the defendant's pattern of behavior demonstrates that he will not obey the orders of this court. He lacks any genuine remorse. He has an extensive criminal history, and he's failed to respond favorably to prior sanctions that have been imposed by this court and others. And for all of those reasons, the state asks that the court impose a prison sentence in this case and that a no contact order with the victim be applied. Thank you.
Why did the prison allow him to make 1,700 calls?
Well, it's my understanding that some of the calls originated at one prison until the number was blocked, and then he was moved to a new prison. And at that point, the number was no longer blocked. Eventually, it was blocked, but
why would they, if he made one call that was threatening at the prison, why would they allow him to, I mean, they listen to the calls. Why would they allow him to continue to make calls?
I can't answer that question, Your Honor. I don't know.
Mr. Novotny, anything else you want to say?
Your Honor, I do believe he is showing some remorse for his actions.
I don't know what remorse means, you know, I mean, let alone genuine remorse. I don't know what that means, okay? The problem is, for more than half the time I've been sitting here, I've been dealing with this nonsense, okay? And it's not limited to you. I've got 3 or 4 other cases of stuff like this that unbeknownst to me, I can't figure out why people subject themselves to this shit time after time after time, okay? So I don't know why people do that. So I don't know what remorse means, really. I mean, it doesn't really, for me, it doesn't enter into it. I know it's one of those goofy statutory factors, okay? But it doesn't really mean anything because I don't know how to define it. I don't know how to determine if it's real or not real, okay? Okay? I mean, because everybody sits here and bullshits me all the time. And, you know, I'm not beating on you for it. Everybody does it.
I mean, honestly, like, what am I sorry for? Contacting her about my child? Like, I mean, other than that, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it was personal too.
Yeah,
but I'm not sorry for I'm sorry for threatening and being mad and because of what I've been through. But, like, other than that, like, because, like, it's almost as if, like, I show my genuine self and then, like, I get told that's not who you are. That's not who you are. You're a bad person. Like,
okay, it's got nothing to do with being a bad person or not a bad person. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's got what it's got to do with is that this keeps happening over and over.
It needs to stop.
No, and I know it needs to stop. The problem is you don't know it needs to stop.
I'm over it. Trust me.
Your Honor, Justin's mother's also in the back, and I think she has a few words to say as well.
All right, what do you want? What do you want to tell me?
Your Honor, I can't attest to Julia's the way she's afraid of my son or whatnot. But at one time, she was using my account to communicate with my son and video calls. You know, so for her to say, you know, maybe he did threaten her, maybe she is afraid of him, but when he would call on my account, she was on there showing her breast, doing things that if you're afraid, you don't do that.
This doesn't look. This goes back a good 5 years of this stuff going on. Okay, and there's been times when I've said something to Miss Chickanetti about this stuff way back at the beginning of this. Okay, so I don't know why this goes on.
I believe he is over the relationship and would like to move on with his life, and I hope that that's the truth from him.
Genuinely, 100%.
I don't want to keep going to prison to visit him. I don't want to keep coming to court. I'm tired just as much as you probably are, but thank you.
I've had to lose my father through this. I had to lose my uncle, everybody. I lost everybody.
Okay.
While I've been locked up.
So So how your pre-sentence report reads is a lack of relationships in your past that impact you, right?
Yeah.
In a negative way, okay? And now, what are you, 33 now?
33.
Okay. So I don't know what the circumstances of the lack of relationships or your treatment, but it doesn't matter at this point because it's done. So you can wallow around, for another 33 years, bitching about how nobody did this for you and somebody should have done this and that, I feel bad, all that bullshit, okay? But it doesn't matter.
No.
Because unless you want to change it, it ain't going to change.
There's a saying, it says, what's that called? The time frame, no, it says a judicial term with it, the time frame for childhood trauma is up. You know what I'm saying? What's that called? Statutes of limitations for childhood traumas are up. You know what I'm saying? There's no more blaming the childhood trauma because I have my own choice. I can either let it be a bucket of crabs to me or I can step up and be a man,
Okay, so here's, here's the situation as I see it, okay? And maybe I see things different than other people, okay? But you've been here a number of times for this, and as a result, 3 weeks ago, you finished up your 28-month prison sentence for that, right? Okay, and it's still going on, okay? So now what? Now what do we do? You got 3 felonies of the 5th degree for doing the same stuff again. But the question remains, as it always does, and not just in your case, but in every case, is how, if at all, does this change? Well, the answer is simple, right? It changes if you stop doing the stupid shit you've been doing.
Stop doing it.
Right? I mean, that's the only way it changes. It doesn't change because I tell you got to make a change. Because I got tired reading this thing, okay? Because it's so goddamn long, okay? Because I tell you not to do something and you do it. And then I send you to prison, I let you out and tell you not to do it, and you do it. You do it, you do it, you do it, and you end up back in prison. Okay? So what? I have no impact on you. You haven't listened to a word I've said in the 7 years you've been coming here, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting here right now, right?
I just thought that.
Okay, and then you get pissed about it. You get pissed at me, and you kind of spout off on the way back from prison to here. Okay, well, whatever. I don't really care about that. Okay, but you don't seem to be able to control your actions, or you haven't wanted to control your actions. It's one of those two. I don't know which is worse.
I think I give people too many chances.
Well,
I've been told that.
Okay, but you know what? If you beat your head against a brick wall every morning and you get a headache as a result of it and you're bleeding, then you shouldn't beat your head against the wall the next morning because you're just going to get a headache and start bleeding again.
There's this one quote. It says, a relationship is controlled by the person who cares the least. So, I guess it's because I got a big heart, and, knowing, what she's been through, I told Nicole, how can I walk away from somebody?
See, why are you worried?
I know exactly.
Wait. Why are you worried about what she's gone through when you can't even solve what you've gone through and control your own behavior? Why do you try to control somebody else's behavior when you can't control your own behavior?
So from a psychological standpoint, I think it's because of codependency. What I went through as a child with my mom, my mom not raising me. I never knew motherly love. Let's get that out there. I never knew motherly love. I didn't even know my mom until I was 16. So with that, everything, and then being in a relationship with her, she gave me something, even if it was fake, because in my eyes I was a sucker and I was a fool for a long time. But in my eyes, she did something for me that I didn't want to leave.
And when did you realize that you were a sucker and a fool?
September 19th.
Okay.
I mean, prior to that, but I still had my doubts about it, like, oh, maybe this is going on, maybe it's not her, maybe, no. It's September 19th, I'm not smart.
Okay, so what kind of drugs were you doing when you were in Youngstown?
Smoking K2 and eating Suboxone.
Eating what?
Suboxone.
So your two biggest problems are the drugs that you have always done and your inability to contain your self-control, your anger. Those are your two biggest problems. And there's no real way of me knowing whether you're going to act on those extremely angry impulses, is there?
No, I guess there wouldn't be.
Right.
You would just have to genuinely take my word that I'm being honest with you that.
Listen, I don't, it's a pretty rare occasion where I take anybody's word for anything, okay? Because words don't mean anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't mean anything.
Not at all.
Okay? Otherwise, if words meant everything, that means I would believe everybody, and I would fashion my sentences accordingly. Okay, but that's only part of it. That's not the beginning and the end of it, whether I believe you or don't believe you. Okay. Question is, what do I do with you?
I mean, do you want to believe? I mean, do you trust me? I mean,
I don't trust anybody. Okay, I don't trust anybody because everybody lies to me. Okay, but that's beside the point. Okay, it doesn't matter whether I believe you or I trust you. Okay, the only thing that matters is whether you're ever going to stop this or whether you're just going to continue this, so that long after I'm gone from here, somebody else is sitting here dealing with you. Okay, that's my calculus. Okay, so you got 3 F5s. Okay, so I got to figure out the appropriate sentence for 3 F5s in your particular facts and circumstances, in your case, not what the stupid statutes tell me what to do with 3 F5s, okay? Okay, because I don't calculate sentences based on some kind of matrix that you got, because you got a shitty record, right? Ms. Himmeline pointed that out. Now, she told me, everything she told me I already knew with regard to your record because I've been sitting here living it, okay? Okay, so the question is, what do I do with you? Not what do I do with somebody who has these convictions for these offenses and acts like this, okay? What do I do with you?
Help me.
Well, I can't help you.
For a long time, I didn't think I needed help. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought it was on my own.
I recognize that you needed a lot of help a long time ago. Okay, yeah. You didn't. Now, you may have. Maybe you didn't want to do anything about it.
I thought I was doing A-okay back then when I was stupid.
All right, well, listen, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report again, and I've reviewed the letter that I received from your mother, and I heard what she had to say, what Ms. Cicconetti had to say, what you had to say, what Nicole had to say, what Jennifer had to say. And I've considered all of the applicable statutes that I have to as part of a sentencing. So if I were I'm gonna put you on community control for 5 years. We're gonna try this over again. Now, if I wasn't gonna put you on community control, okay, if I was just gonna get rid of you today, it would be for 12 months in prison, okay? That's what I would give you, okay? But I'm gonna put you on community control. And if you come back, then you're not gonna get 12 months in prison. You're going to get 12 plus 12 plus 12. That's what you'll get.
I ain't coming back.
Well, how many, if I had a buck for everybody that told me that, I'd be filthy rich, retired, and gambling it in Las Vegas. Okay? Because everybody tells me that. But once again, it doesn't matter what I say. Matters what you do. Doesn't matter what you say. Where is that place?
Legends, Your Honor.
Where is it?
2 hours, Joe. Took 2 hours away, I think. That's what Aaron.
But it would be available for him on the 12th.
I have a quick question for.
I ain't done yet, and you
My
can
fault.
ask questions when I'm done. What medication were you prescribed in the past?
I was on Wellbutrin before I got back to the county. They took me off it. I've been taking Lamictal, but I've not been taking it for the last 2 weeks because I'm trying to get.
What do you take that for?
It's a mood stabilizer.
All right, you're gonna serve 47 days, credit for 14, or 17. You're gonna be released to Legends and taken there by a representative of the Public Defender's Office. Enter into and complete that program. You're gonna get a psychological evaluation, follow the recommendations. You're gonna see only one doctor and one dentist and one pharmacy for prescription medication. Take your medication only as is prescribed and sign releases. You'd have no drugs or alcohol and you'll be screened. Attend at least 3 AA meetings a week and get a sponsor. Obtain full employment at the appropriate time. And get a driver's license. And you're to have no contact with Julia Cicconetti. You're to cause nobody to have any contact with her. For any reason, okay? Now, she doesn't have custody of your daughter right now, right?
She's not getting it back.
So you have zero reason to contact her for anything.
Not at all.
Okay? If she gets custody back, you're not to contact her. You're gonna have to work through juvenile court when that happens to arrange, hey, I don't wanna hear any shit back there. Or you can both leave. Your next step, after you clear up, after you get a hold of yourself, is to go to juvenile court, establish paternity and a visitation schedule, and pay child support. That's your step with regard to your daughter. Now, you said you had a question.
It was earlier. I'm not sure if I remember it. No, I was. You said 47 days, 17 times served, so 30 days, and then I go to the treatment center.
Well, you're going to go to the treatment center when it's available and when they can transport you there.
Okay,
And
so
the rest
Tuesday.
of those days will be suspended.
Okay.
Now, of course, you're a veteran at this, so you know what happens if you violate. They file a motion to terminate. I'll terminate you, and you'll go for 36 months. Then you'll be on post-release control. Under the parole authority, you'll have to comply with them. If you don't comply with them, they'll send you back to prison.
So I think I'm on PRC right now.
Well, that's for them to deal with. I got nothing to do with that.
So, like if I file something with you, like based on like the separation of powers clause, like I can't.
No, don't do that.
No?
Don't
All
do
right,
that.
sorry.
'Cause,
Just because I'm on both, being on both is just.
That's been established by the Ohio Supreme Court. They
Okay.
can do that. Okay?
All right.
The remaining charges are dismissed. Anything else, Ms. Himalayan?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Novotny?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Court does call the case.
All right. I thought KK was making an admission there, but apparently PCP stands for primary care physician. So thank goodness. I was getting worried about my buddy there. All right. Thanks everybody for coming in today, and thanks everybody for chatting it up. There's a ton of chat going across. If you got something deleted or if you got timed out or something, let it go and move on. I don't know of any hard feelings. I don't know if anybody being targeted. If you do feel like you're being targeted, send me a message. Send one of the moderators a message that you trust. Let's do that, because nobody here is looking to have a bad time. This is a calm and relaxed atmosphere. So if you feel something shady, get a hold of somebody. So My contact information is on the channel information, and you can get a hold of everybody in Discord. All right, we're gonna go to Judge Simpson. He had one. I keep thinking that this was the guy that Judge Simpson had sentenced a while back for DWI, and the guy was in just a really bad shape. I keep thinking that this is him. If it's not, I may be mistaken. But the guy physically looks like the guy, and he's in for a violation, and he really looks like it's the same guy to me. So let's see where this is at.
The People of the State of Michigan versus Peter Heenan.
Morgan, please sound for the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jackie Moss for and on behalf of Mr. Heenan, present, standing to my right.
All right. State your name.
Peter Heenan.
All right. How you doing?
Good, Your Honor. Thank you for asking.
Are you?
Much better.
All right. Okay, go ahead, counsel. Sure.
Thank you, Your Honor. Today was the date and time scheduled for a violation of bond hearing. I've had communications with the prosecutor's office and conversation with Mr. Heenan. Mr. Heenan is willing to make an admission regarding that bond violation, Your Honor.
Okay. And so, Mr. Heenan, you admit to the violation?
Yes, Your Honor. And with that also, Your Honor, there was a conversation with the prosecutor regarding the reinstatement of Mr. Heenan's bond. It's my understanding that the prosecutor would not object to Mr. Heenan's bond being reinstated, along with the additional conditions that were previously stated on the record.
That is correct, Your Honor, with the understanding that Mr. Heenan is to be released to treatment.
Yes. All right. What I will indicate is that the defendant's bond is reinstated with specific release to treatment. Mr. Heenan, that's what you want to do, right?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to give it another shot here, Peter. All right. So
I apologize.
go ahead.
I am making the request formally on the record, though, that if for any reason that Mr. Heenan is no longer in treatment, a condition of his bond be that he let the court know within 24 hours that he is no longer in treatment.
Okay. I am signing a community corrections order. So this is the way we've laid it out, Peter. And what will end up happening is that I'm going to release you, but you're going to be held because you have to have a tether on you, or not only to be released to your sister. You understand that, for transport to Sanford. Understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So specifically what's going to happen is they're going to come over at some point tomorrow, put the scram tether on you. All right. Then they will, and then Saturday, you'll still be incarcerated. Saturday, and I put down here at 8 o'clock, you will be picked up by your sister. You are then to be transported there across state. There will be no stops, no matter how much you ask her. Don't even ask her. I've myself spoken with her, and that is all that, and I know she'll follow my direction. That is all that she's to do.
Yes, sir.
Is get you from that spot across state. Understand?
I understand.
So the order specifically reads that the tether will be placed on Friday, November 8th, 2024. Defendant will be released to Sanford Behavioral Health on October 9th, 2024. Defendant will be picked up on Saturday, 11/9/2024 at 8 a.m. by Lydia Marshall. And then we place her date of birth in there, and she will show ID at the Washtenaw County Jail. Ms. Marshall will transport the defendant directly to Sanford Behavioral, and then we give that address of that location, and she will transport you on that date. You have an admissions time of around 11 o'clock. So we have certainly, I think, given enough time. It further indicates that the defendant is required to notify his defense counsel and the court upon his discharge for any reason from Sanford Behavioral Health. All right. And I will add the one, in there, and that's to be, I'm not gonna give 24 hours. If he's discharged, he's to notify within 12 hours. I'm gonna put, all
And-
right?
Your Honor, if I may, I just want to clarify. I believe I heard Your Honor, as you were reading, read the date of October. I just want to make sure it's written in.
Did I say October 8th?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, it's October, it's November.
Okay, okay.
Sometimes I get those months mixed up. Sometimes I'm having Thanksgiving at Halloween. It's all thing.
Okay.
It's a problem for me. All right. You understand everything?
I do, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. So we're gonna do it that way. And then we will proceed from there. What I will do is I will put the sentencing on the violation
Your Honor,
as well as, yes.
at risk of pushing the court's patience today, because,
You've already done that.
I
I'm way
know.
past that. So go ahead.
but, you know, pushing it further. It's my understanding that the length of time Mr. Heenan is at Sanford is anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks. Because of that, I would be making the bold request of going out 1 week, just so that Mr. Heenan can appear via Zoom and we check in to see if we want to, when we would potentially like to set for preliminary exam, if we would want to do that while he's still.
So you think the 14th? I just, sure, we can do that. I just want to make sure, because usually there's that period in time upon admission that they won't. I was going to set this for the 21st, but the 14th, if you want me to set it for the 14th, I will. That's not pushing anything.
I have no objection.
All right. So the sentencing on the violation, as well as the probable cause conference in this case, then will be adjourned to November 14th, 2024. I'll set it at 9, but we'll set that. Okay. Anything else from either side?
And Mr. Heenan is allowed to appear via Zoom from.
Yes, he will be allowed to appear via Zoom. If there's a problem, and counsel, you may have to contact the facility. If there's a problem with him appearing via Zoom, just let the court know and we'll figure something out. Or if it's sometimes that they won't let it happen in the first period in time after his admission. So if we're in that window, let us know and we'll figure it out.
Understood. I will keep the court apprised.
All right. Mr. Heenan, good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Remember what I said the last time. And you finally acknowledged that sometimes you take the easy way because it's easy, right? So let's give a shot here of trying to do it maybe the hard way. All right. And it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be whatever, but just try to just bear down and just get yourself past it and just take the hard path. Sometimes, ultimately, that will be the easy path.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Right. All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. We got another one from Judge Clayton or Judge Hayward in Clayton County, Georgia. Hey, Bodie, you were talking about different times getting in trouble with comments. Talking about medicine is crazy with YouTube. They don't understand the difference and they block it. I'll use an example. Last night's show, which I thought was pretty tame, which I can't see anything that was wrong with it. They took the monetization from last night's show because it said it didn't meet their standards. And so a lot of creators are just simply trying to protect that. Anything that takes up time costs money. And whenever you do stuff like this, it costs money. And so you need to be able to make some money from it. And when YouTube decides that someone mentioned medicine and therefore they're going to take away the monetization, stupid things are thought of with the AI machines. And so comments are deleted when it's just simply trying to be protective. Someone had mentioned COVID a little bit earlier in their comments, and that's a buzzword. They don't, people, they don't like that. The AI machine doesn't know if you're if you're getting political or not. They don't understand, so they end up just people end up deleting stuff, not thinking about it. So I certainly wouldn't take it personal. For instance, I can't tell if one of my comments was ever deleted because I never looked back. So Well, we're gonna go to Clayton County. We got a lady stealing, so we're gonna go and jump there.
1 CR 08381 for theft by shoplifting. You're entering a plea of guilty. By doing so, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am?
Yes.
Factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor. On or about June 29th of 2021, Officer Paul Amons was dispatched to 2940 Anvil, A-N-V as in Victor I-L, Block Road, Ellenwood, Georgia, 30294, Clayton County. Upon his arrival, he met with the Walmart loss prevention, Miss Brittany Wilkerson. Ms. Wilkerson stated that she witnessed the defendant through surveillance video placing a red hair care product box in her bag and proceeded past all points of payments and sales. Ms. Wilkinson stated that she stopped the defendant and brought her into the security room and noticed the red hair care product box in the defendant's bag. Ms. Wilkinson stated that at that time she notified police and waited until their arrival. Ms. Wilkinson stated that the defendant could no longer come back to that store because the defendant had more than one shoplifting at another Walmart. At that time, the defendant was placed under arrest. Your Honor, at this time, the state's offer is 12 months probation, a fine of $200, 40 hours of community service. The defendant is to complete the theft prevention course and to not return back to any Walmart in Clayton County. Thank you.
So Ms. Bell, the sentence is 12 months probation, a fine in the amount of $200, $298 with the surcharges, 40 hours of community service, a theft prevention course, and you're not to go back to any Walmart in Clayton County. And Ms. Bell, I'm gonna just tell you, I'm safer at a Walmart based on like the number of cameras that they have. If something happens to me, it's gonna be on a camera somewhere in Walmart or the parking lot. So when folk go to Walmart thinking that they're getting away with something, and they're stealing, and especially hair care products, come on, man. You're gonna risk your future for a hair care, for a perm? Come on now. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So I'm gonna tell you that even when they don't catch you, they see you. Got me? You're not getting over on anybody. We need to stop with that mentality, that get over mentality. I'm gonna get something for nothing, because nothing in life is free. You either gotta work for it or pay for it. We clear?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Ms. James. Ms. James is going to instruct you about probation. She's going to answer any questions that you might have about your particular situation and how to successfully complete probation. Understand that the quickest way to get rearrested is to fail to go to your probation reports. If you don't do that, then it is likely that you will, I will be signing an arrest warrant for you. Okay?
Okay.
All right, go into the breakout room with Ms. James. You don't have to come back here after.
All right, that's that one. I'm going to throw on a quick outro with Lenis and Judge Fleischer. It was just a cute little scene they had the other day. But we're going to go out with that, and I was hoping to have them on, but it doesn't sound like they're making it home. So we're going to go out with that, and you guys have a great night. I've seen some people say that Yellowstone show was on, so if you watch that or you've heard of that, it's on. I'm sure your life's changed. So y'all have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Look at them go. Sup, Sig? Goedenavond.
No, he's not there yet.
Damn it. Whatever. Shout out to my dad anyway.
You want to call him, see if he's going to log on?
I can call him.
That's funny.
Just when you need him, he doesn't pick up. Nope.
No,
Damn it.
all right. I'm
Whatever.
gonna let him go. You wanna say bye?
Say bye.
Thanks for the birthday wishes. I'm 25.
All right, we're gonna let you
Yeah,
go, guys.
bye,
Have a
honey.
wonderful afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Love you guys.